On today's show, Big Brother and the basement? And what about that nosy neighbor? What if he doesn't like the type of fuel you're using? Could he have a constitutional right to sue you? Hello and welcome to CEMA Energy News. I'm your host, Shelly Sindland, Communications Director at the Connecticut Energy Marketers Association, or CEMA for short. Our job is to promote and defend the liquid fuels industry in Connecticut. On today's show, what if Big Brother moved into your basement, slept on the pull-out couch, and wanted to know not only what fuel you use, but how much? Would you consider that a privacy concern? Do you really want the government to know what type of fuel you're using and how much? There is a bill right now that's being debated that would do exactly that. Not great, we know that. There's another bill that's also being debated that would change the Constitution to give your neighbor the right to sue you if he doesn't like the fuel you're using. So it sounds pretty far-fetched, but actually it's the truth if these two bills were to become a law. And here now to talk more about that is Mr. Chris Erb. He is president and CEO of CEMA. Chris, let's start here. Big Brother watching, the government going into your house. Tell us more about this.
House Bill 6780 is a bill that would require energy sellers like our members, heating fuel retailers that deliver propane and heating oil and bioheat to people's homes, to disclose what type of heating system is in the house, what the fuels they use to heat that home. It also would require DMV to create a public database that would allow your neighbor to see exactly what kind of car you have, what the propulsion system is, whether it's a gasoline-powered car, a diesel-powered car, or an electric vehicle or a hybrid. So basically, and I think that, the Big Brother approach to describing this is very accurate in the sense that why is the government, in the name of climate change, creating public databases so that your neighbors, or anyone for that matter, the media, social media, knows exactly how you heat your home, what fuels you use to heat your home, and the fuels that you use in your vehicles? In no way does this change emissions. In no way does this address climate concerns that many policymakers have. What this does do, though, is it allows your neighbor to look into your house. What's next? Are they going to ask, what's in your bedroom? What's in your attic? It seems to me that the government is not created for one neighbor to be able to look into another neighbor's home. And that's exactly what this does in a very public way. So the question that I think citizens need to ask themselves is, what can this be used for? And our concern is that it can be used for the neighbor who doesn't particularly like the fuels that you use because they choose to use different fuels, could harass you, could protest in front of your house. There are a whole host of what we call slippery slopes in the legislature that this could end up leading to. The unintended consequences could pit neighbor against neighbor. And when you put that bill, House Bill 6780, with the Senate Joint Resolution bill that is under consideration, which would give citizens the right to clean air, water, and soil in a safe climate, that bill is a ambulance chasing lawyer's dream come true, because once you have the constitutional right to those things, it could result in potential litigation where citizens could sue the state, they could sue businesses, and they can sue their neighbors. So when you take a public database that discloses all the fuels for your vehicles and for your heating system, and you also give this constitutional right to clean air, you're potentially putting together two proposals that would result in court and incurring legal fees. And God forbid, if it was deemed that you were violating your neighbor's constitutional rights, I don't even want to think what the punitive damages could be from a financial standpoint. So these are two very dangerous proposals that may look at first blush. Everyone wants clean air and clean water. There's not one person who doesn't want that, regardless of what your place is in society or what your political affiliation is. We all want that. But the question is what is the actions that can be taken by being given those rights? And when you combined it with basically a transparent wall in your house so that people can see what you're doing, there is no other conclusion to arrive at than that this is ripe for litigation, and it's a complete violation of people's privacy.
Well, and from what I understand, lawmakers or those in the committee hearings where you had testified, they want our members who run mom and pop, locally family owned home heating fuel companies, let's say, to basically say, these are our customers. They use home heating oil, home heating fuel. This is how much they use. They want consumption numbers. Not only is that a burden to our members to try to come up with this paperwork, but bigger than that, it's the privacy issue. We don't want to do that. What? The government wants what from us again? This is a violation, a privacy violation of our customers. And the government wants us to turn over their names and so that this can be used on a public website. So they're going to make it easy. They're going to make it easy for everyone to find out what you use. And that is the red flag for us. Correct? Because what else? And some could say, well, I can go and look at town records and see what kind of heating system someone has. Okay, fair enough. But it's not on a website for the world to see. And it's not keeping track of your energy consumption. And at what point could this open the gates that the government could say, oh, you're using too much? We're going to tone that down, or you're going to get taxed more? Where does the line end? What is the end game here? It's just very concerning.
I think that that's a question that people have to ask themselves: is to what ends are they trying to achieve? And I can tell you that in a society that has become more polarized and people are becoming more intense in their positions, I think that the state facilitating this type of information to be easily accessed by anybody for any reason is basically putting a target on people's homes. And I don't see how this bill advances the agenda that the state has under the Global Warming Solutions Act to reduce emissions. Again, we want we want clean air. We want a healthy environment for our children and for everyone who lives here. We have a beautiful state, but this bill and these bills don't achieve making any of the issues that the statutes currently deal with from a climate perspective any better. And when you start creating legislation that gets lawyers involved, it will only result in unneeded costs and time and consternation amongst neighbors and communities. So I don't see what they would achieve from a small business standpoint. We have small family-owned retailers where it's literally one truck, one person, one truck. The pop is driving the truck and the mom is doing the books. Some of these are very small mom and pop businesses, and administratively, there would be costs involved in submitting this information. This is proprietary. Now you have retailers who can look at other retailers' customers, understand what their heating system is, potentially target them. It's going to create imbalances in the competitive marketplace. So not only from a privacy standpoint is this concerning, or from a litigation standpoint, this is concerning, but also from a vibrant competitive market with 600 fuel retailers competing against each other, this disrupts many areas, not just privacy issues, not just litigation, but also business. And that is something that is what we can say is that you may not always be happy with the price of fuel, but regardless, you always know that it's competitively priced. There are circumstances beyond our control, whether it's weather or war, that make prices go up and come down. But you always know that there's another competitor down the street trying to earn your business, which keeps prices honest. By having all of these disclosures available, it could create imbalances in the competitive marketplace by this, what we would call proprietary trade secret information now being readily available. I'm concerned in so many ways about these two proposals. And the common theme this session is that we are, again, looking at additional legislation that increases costs, doesn't lower emissions. Therefore, why are we doing it is the question.
Yeah. And again, as you had said, like someone might read the description of these bills and not think too much of it. And that's our job, right? Is to investigate and dig a little deeper and see exactly what all this does mean. And these two bills married together, not even married together, if they should become law at the same time, it's going to lead to a whole host of problems for homeowners, privacy rights, our business members. Where does it end? And I'd like to real quickly talk about another bill that we did not include in this op-ed. It's something you definitely wanted to let people know about, where lawmakers also are proposing. Explain this to me.
Home energy label. Basically, right now there is a federal standard that has been established by the United States Department of Energy that rates homes based on their efficiency. Again, makes sense. I want to know what weatherization conservation measures may have been taken in the home to reduce the use of electricity, the use of your heating fuel. There's a lot of common sense behind having that information available. Well, this bill departs from those federal standards that are uniform throughout the entire country and would give the state of Connecticut the power to come up with their own home energy labeling system, which makes no sense to us, because if there's already one that applies to every state, why would Connecticut need something different? I suspect that Connecticut needs a different home energy label system because they're going to manipulate these home energy labels to try to convince consumers that they should switch to a different technology to heat their home. You might be happy with your natural gas system or your propane system or your heating oil system. But we know that the state has an agenda to move people to a more expensive fuel and a more expensive technology, and those are electric heat pumps. So this home energy label system that would be unique to Connecticut, it would be a boutique system, could potentially result in devaluing your home, driving the price of the home down. And it would require homeowners who are selling their home to go get trained potentially to create their own home energy score, and landlords who are renting apartments. So if you don't want to go get that training, you'll be forced to hire someone who is certified in doing this. And then you'd have to make it publicly available. And if that home energy score shows that you are less efficient, and like I said, and I think that this is ripe for the system to be rigged against the natural gas heated home, the propane heated home, and the heating oil heated home, for manipulation to devalue the cost of your house. So you just think about it. For a lifetime, you've invested in a home that suddenly the state of Connecticut comes up with their own rating system that ends up making your home worth less. And I think it's wrong. And then the added cost to the homeowner when you do decide it's time to sell, now you need to go out and you need to acquire this home energy label so that you can disclose it to the purchaser. Or if you're renting that apartment, if you're a landlord, those are added costs on you. Today, a buyer is the one who typically hires a home inspector the cost is on the person who's purchasing. There's nothing that prevents a purchaser of a home to go out and do a home energy score before they purchase it. But this legislation is going to shift that burden and those costs to the renter of the apartment or the seller of the home. And I think it's unfair, it's costly, and it can be manipulated in a way that reduces probably most people's largest asset, their home, reduces the value of it.
And again, how accurate is it really? Like, I keep my heat at 60, 62 degrees. I don't like it very warm in my house. So there's just so many factors involved in your energy score, correct? So I don't even know how they would come up with a system that makes it fair and accurate. And it sounds like it's just complicating the situation, putting more of a burden on a homeowner, on a renter, and could eventually, as you said, devalue your home. That is pretty alarming. So we know that there's a lot here in this podcast. Our podcasts are a deep dive because it's the only way that we could really get all the information out to you. But we want our listeners to know that check the notes or check the comments, and we will have links to where you can read more about these specific bills and also how you can get involved and take action and contact your state lawmaker and have your voices be heard. Because, Chris, there is this ideology or this notion that it just doesn't matter. And we're here to tell you that it does matter, that lawmakers do pay close attention to what their constituents are saying, correct? And we've heard them say it to us, like, have your people, they're emailing us, we're getting the emails.
Oh, no doubt. I get a number of people every time we do a podcast, or if we're on a radio program or television, we get people who call our office and ask, how can I get involved? Can you provide me with more information on what's happening? So, I'm really encouraged that once people hear what's going on, they do tend to want to take action. They want to get involved. They want to understand and know more. And as we said previous to this, part of our job is to help the public have an understanding of something that sometimes is a process that seems far away. It's kind of it's being done in the dark, even though everyone knows where the state capitol is and you can get there. But you really know when's the public hearing? How do I submit written testimony? Who do I talk to? The mechanics of it are sometimes difficult for the public to understand. So we try to help provide them with a way to be involved, whether it's going to Hartford to testify or just being able to submit written testimony or an email or a phone call to your elected officials. So that is the key to making sure that the people who ultimately will have to vote on this, your state senator and your state representative, have a good understanding of where you stand and why you either oppose or support something.
All right.
This bill in particular, again, at first blush, someone would say, well, why wouldn't you want to have a home energy label? Well, why don't they want to adopt the federal standard that other states adopt? That's my question. There is an ulterior motive that is unstated, and it's not in the bill, that no one seems to want to talk about. They want to talk about all of the things that people could benefit from by having a home energy label, but they don't want to address why they don't want to use the national standard. And there is a story there that I hope that we've shed light on, that this could be used for purposes that end up financially impacting you and the value of your home.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for all the good work that you do, and thanks for your time. And I appreciate it.
Good deal. Thank you.
Until next time, folks, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on Spotify and to like us on YouTube so that you will have the latest energy news that you need to know how this could impact your wallet and your energy bills.